holding down the youth. Back when right. Back when right. Back when right on meant you stood for something and brothers marched with purpose in they step. A young Harold Bell picked up a mic and said, if truth got a home, I'm gonna broadcast it. From the 65 to right now, he ran the lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decade changed, but the message stayed same. Harold Bell put respect on his name. From the OG day to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. By the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic. Back when right on meant you stood for something and brothers marched with purpose in they step. A young Harold Bell picked up a mic and said, if truth got a home, I'm gonna broadcast that. From the 65 to right now, he ran the lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decade changed, but the message stayed same. Harold Bell put respect on his name. From the OG day to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. By the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. Back in 65, the block still said dig it. Petey Green on the airwaves, the realest to kick it. Harold slid through like Bet, took no, stayed vivid. When the hood had pain, he said somebody got a bridge. In 71, he turned the knob inside sports on the map. No cap, first black host doing play-by-play facts. Radio crackling, community tap in. If a lie hit the streets, Harold Bell started scrapping. Say it loud, era. Folks fought to be seen. Harold fought for the ones overlooked in between. Players, kids, legends, the future unseen. He put the whole DMV on his team. Fighter right now, he ran the lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decade changed, but the message stays same. Harold Bell put respect on his name. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. Yeah, fast forward. 80s crack the pavement, DMV slang, shit for vibe in the basement, go-go drums knocking, what's good? Round the way, hell still holding down the youth every day. Well, talk shows turn spooky, he stayed solid, didn't chase clicks, didn't fold for $1. He had Jim Brown pull up, Ollie on the line, sports radio, man, he redefined. By the 90s, folks, your facts before it was a trend. Harold been fact-checking them way back then. Gatekeepers hated him, he ain't been. Told Earl Lloyd story to the hall, let him in. Keep it 100. He kept it 1,000. Long before social media started wildin'. When most shows played it safe about race, Harold Bell said names to they face. I'm a 65 to right now. He ran the lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decades changed, but the message stays same. Harold Bell put respect on his name.
Another episode, but we have history. 50 years ago today, the legendary HB Harold Bell became the first black man to host a show during prime time on NBC affiliate WRC TV4, interviewing Muhammad Ali. Now, I know a lot of y'all remember Rumble in the Jungle. I'm sure you do. Well, tonight we're going to honor his legacy. We're going to give him his flowers and officially launch the Inside Sports Legacy Network. So without no further ado, I got my main man right here, HB, in the building. What's happening, HB?
Hey, what's going on, Shannon?
Not
Hey,
much, my guy.
I love the intro, man. Man, that's a bad rap you got there, boy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I'm honored, man. I'm honored.
Yeah, I had to put it together for you, man. I researched your history. I found out more about you because when I got into this thing, they said, "Hey, listen, go check out Harold Bell. That's the model." So, yes, sir. I had to put it in the raps.
Man, I appreciate it, man. You know, God works in mysterious ways, man. Sometimes the people can count you out, but God don't count you out. And that's what has happened to me over the years. He's had my back, and I appreciate him sending you to me, you know. And there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things we're going to be able to talk about, man. And I like it, like I said, man, you got to understand what Muhammad Ali did in 1974 was unheard of, man. You know, no brother had ever interviewed a heavyweight champion, man, one-on-one in the history of boxing. And he gave me that opportunity when he knocked out George Foreman, man. Not only did he shock the sports world, but he shocked the sports media when he came home and made me the first call, say, hey, man, you want to do that interview? And a lot of people don't understand exactly where all that started. It started, man, in 1967. My man Peter Green, we were meeting down at Ben's Chili Bowl to have lunch. I had just left the United Planning Organization where he got me my first job, right? And what happened, Mr. Banks, the CEO of the United Planning Organization, had given some grants for roving leaders to the DC Recreation Department. And he was in a position to say, I give you all this money, y'all got to take Harold Bell. And that's how I ended up being a roving leader, which was one of the elite programs in the DC Recreation Department. Everybody wanted to be a roving leader because we were like almost on our own, you know, going to different playgrounds where there was a problem, we would be assigned. So after I got up there at the DC Recreation Department, I was meeting Petey down at Ben's Chili Bowl for lunch. And that's when he told me, he said, man, Muhammad Ali is up there on Howard University. I said, what? I said, yeah, he's up there. So I said, come on, man, let's go, man. We got to go up there. Petey said, man, I can't go. I got to meet with Mr. Banks. I got to meet with Mr. Banks. I said, see you, I'm gone. So I made my way up to Howard University, and I was able to walk from Ben's Chili Bowl up to Howard University, those who are familiar with Washington, D.C. And there were this big crowd of students, man. It must have been 200 or 300 of them. And there was Muhammad Ali in the middle of them, man. And he was talking, he was, I mean, he had them laughing, and oh man, they loved it, man. So I eased myself, you know, being a DC boy, I eased myself on him through the crowd, and I was almost up, I was face to face with him. But he didn't pay me no rabbit mind. He kept on doing what he was doing. So he went on for about 20 more minutes, man. And then he said, hey, I need somebody to show me around the campus, you know? He wasn't talking to us men. He was talking to one of them pretty little girls he wanted to show me around. So I took that opportunity and grabbed him by the hand. Said, come on, champ, come on, go with me. And we started that walk down the Georgia Avenue corridor, man. And man, we got down by Wonder Bread Bakery, man, where the McDonald's is now. And I turned around and looked, and man, it looked like we were leading a parade, a Pied Piper, man. We had about close to 50 or 100 kids following us, man, down the road, man. And so as we walking down towards 17, people started getting out of their cars. Women were getting out of their cars, leaving cars running over, hugging him and kissing him. And he was enjoying it, man. He was really enjoying it, man. That was so great to see a guy like that who was not scared of his people, you know. Hey man, yeah. he loved his people. So on the way down, we had a conversation. He said, Harold, what you doing, man? What you doing? I said, man, I work with children, man. I work for the DC Recreation Department. I'm a roving leader. I work out here in the streets with youth gangs and at-risk children. And you know what he told me? Just meeting me. Here's what he told me. He said, stick with the children. I got your back. I didn't know what that meant. Wow, man. You know, I had no idea what that meant, you know. But we got down by 17, right down by the Howard Theater. And I was carrying him down to Sam K's record shop. Sam K and I were really good friends. He was a businessman, entrepreneur. And we get down there before we could get to Sam K's. My man Harvey Cooper, who we call the oldest teenager, jumped out and started shadowboxing with the champion. Champion took off his jacket and gave it to me, and that was a highlight, man. That was how I met the heavyweight champion, man, of the world, man. He was a heavyweight champion of the world, man. And I was just amazed, man, how relaxed that he was with around his people. And so I said, Champ, I got to go back to work, man. I can't hang out here with you. I got a job. So I left him down there, and I went on back to work, man. I didn't see him again, Shannon. Let's see, 1972. Wow. I had been hooked up with Richard Nixon, who was the president of the United States at that time. But I met Richard Nixon at the Burning Tree Golf Course where I used to caddy when I was in high school. I had to go out there and caddy, help my mother make ends meet. And guess who was out there with me? Petey Green. Petey Green. I met Petey Green at the Burning Tree Golf Course, man. So we hooked up, and everybody had warned me to stay away from Petey Green. All my homeboys in Parkside and the project said, Harold, don't mess with Petey Green. Petey Green, what he did, Shannon, he didn't really come out there to caddy. He came out there, he'd go deep down in the woods and set up crap games and card games for all us suckers. After we'd have been out there carrying them bags in the hot sun, they end up going down there. So one day I came in, I got in early, man. I said, let me go down here and see what this Petey Green is all about. So I went down there in the woods, and there he was, and got me in a card game. I don't know what it was, man. You know where they hide the thing under the cards, and you pick.
Oh man!
Yeah, man, a 3-card Molly, whatever. But anyway, he broke me, man. He broke me. So I said, "Oh my God, man!" So now I got to find a way back home. So he gave me $2. He said, "Here's $1 for your transportation, and $1 get Little Tavern hamburger, which was 10-cent hamburger that we got on the way back home." So now I'm walking out to the parking lot, man. I don't want to see none of my homeboys, but they don't warn me, stay away from Petey Green. So as I'm walking toward the parking lot to catch my ride, one of the members, they all win, all men, all white men, man. I mean, rich white men. One of them would usually give the caddies a ride into Westmoreland Circle, where I would catch my bus back to the housing project in Northeast Washington. Well, as I'm walking toward the parking lot, I hear somebody say, "Hey, Lil Bell! Hey, Lil Bell!" I turned around, and it was the caddy master, Max Elvin. He called me back. He said, "Hey, Bell, I got 2 bags. They're going to just play 9 holes, and, you be through." So, man, I said, "Hey, man, I sure do." So I took the bag and started walking toward the first tee, and I heard somebody say, "Hey, Harold, are you ready for an adventure?" I turned around, man, and there's the Vice President of the United States of America, man.
What?
And there he is with his partner. I found out later was William Rogers, who was the Secretary of State. I think he was Secretary of State then, but he was Secretary of something. That was his golf partner. So you know what I said when he asked me that? I said, "Man, just give me the money. Let's go." So, man, we walking out on the golf course, man, and I understood after 3 holes why he asked me, was I ready for an adventure? His ball stayed in the woods and the trees more than the birds and the bees. I was in and out of them woods, man. It was hot, man. I said, I can't wait, man, until this is over. And we got up to the 9th hole, and he went in the woods again. And then as he comes out of the woods, he hollered over to, he said, "Hey, Bill," who was William Rogers. "Hey, Bill, let's go 9 more holes." I said, "Oh, my God." He said, 9 more holes.
Oh, man.
So anyway, we went 9 more holes, and it was dark, man, when we got in, man. It was dark, man, almost pitch dark. They picked up their balls at the 18th hole, said, okay, Harold, that's enough for today. So he went in. So now I'm standing out there waiting because all my homeboys, they gone. And Shannon, they done gone, man. They left the course and everything. And all the people left are some of the members who were in there playing gin rummy, you know. So I said, man, how am I going to get home? I said, well, I get to catch up with the kitchen help. You know, there I get a ride into D.C. While I'm standing there waiting for them to bring me my money, the vice president comes out and gives me my money. He said, Harold, we'll see you next time. And I whispered under my breath, not hardly, you won't see me. So then I go back to get my ride. And who comes out of the clubhouse for Mr. Rogers and the vice president? And the first thing the vice president said, Harold, you need a ride? I said, yes, sir, I sure do. So we go out to the parking lot. Now, you got to realize this is 1957. They ain't got no Secret Service man guarding the president, vice president anyway. So I get to the parking lot, man. He got this black Cadillac, man, look like it's a block long. Woo. And Mr. Rogers gets in to drive, the vice president gets the passenger side, and I open that door to get in. It was like in an apartment. I said that was an apartment. That's how big it was back there. Woo. Anyway, make a long story short, they riding on into DC, and the vice president looks back at me, smiling. So he said, Harold, where do you live? I said, I live in Northeast Washington, sir. He said, okay. He said, you got any brothers and sisters? I said, yes, sir. I got two brothers. He said, okay. He said, what school do you go to? I said, sir, I go to Spingarn High School. He said, no kidding. You go to Spingarn? He said, yeah. So he said, you play any sports? And man, what do you say that for? I leaned back in the seat and I said, I played football, basketball, and baseball. I'm proud of myself, you know. So man, Shannon, he looked at me, and the next question, I wanted to go hide under the seat. He said, Earl, how are your grades? I said, oh my God. I said, sir, my grades are not good. You know, my grades are not good. I may be in school for all the wrong reasons. So he said, well, let me tell you something, son. Your education is going to carry you further than football, basketball, or baseball. So you need to get on the ball. And by that time, man, like they got me to Westmoreland Circle, well, I was glad to get out of that Cadillac. I was glad and get on the bus. Now I had money, you know, to buy hamburgers. And next time I see Peter Green, I can give him his $2 back. But that's how I met the Vice President of the United States. Hey, what can I say, man? So here I am. Here it is, 2025. That was 1957, man. I can't even count the years. What'd you think, man?
That's amazing, man. Just to hear that story is like, how does that even happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that happen where you get the opportunity to, you know, really get close to a president like that?
Vice president. He was vice president at the time, but he was right next to the president. And the thing about it, man, I didn't see him again until 1972. No, 1969, the year after the riots, because I got caught up in the riots in 1968. I was out in the streets for 3 nights and 3 days with a police badge that Assistant Chief Tillman O'Brien, the highest ranking black on the DC Police Department, Tillman and I became close friends. He was a sharp dude, man. Tillman O'Brien, he was a sharp dude. So when the riots broke out, when Martin Luther King was shot and killed on that April 4th day, I remember exactly where I was. I was standing on the corner of 9th and U Street with Willie Wood, the great Willie Wood, who played for the Green Bay Packers, who went on to become All-Pro, went on to be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. Well, why was I standing out there with Willie Wood, this great Green Bay Packer NFL player? Well, you know, back in the day, man, the NFL players weren't making the kind of money that these guys are making today, the stupid money they're making today. Well, when Willie Wood came home, he had to either get a job with the DC Public Schools or the DC Recreation Department. And that year, he came in and got a job with the DC Recreation Department as a roving leader. I had met Willie earlier because my older brother had gone to Armstrong, and I was supposed to go to Armstrong. But once I got to Armstrong and saw the coach with this big paddle, I was playing about out there. I said, "Oh no, man, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here." So on the way out to catch the bus back to Spingarn, the resident Spingarn, I ran into Willie Wood. So he knew I was Alfred Bell's brother because they played baseball together. My brother was a shortstop and Willie Wood was the second baseman. He said, "Little Bell, where you going, Little Bell?" I said, "Man, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to Spingarn." Oh, man, I was going to they had Mr. McIntyre putting that paddle on my butt. So I went on back out to Spingarn and registered at Spingarn. And we ended up playing Armstrong that year in the for the DC Public High School East Division Championship. Spingarn won the East, and we were tied with Armstrong. So we played Armstrong up at Cardozo, and that was my freshman year. And I didn't see no action, but I was in uniform, and we upset Willie and them because everybody had picked us to lose. We beat them 13-7. And I was able to watch Willie Wood do a pitch out to his running back, and this guy named Maurice Lucas, a linebacker, picked that pitch out and went for a touchdown that won the game, man.
Woo!
Yeah, I was there. I was a freshman, man. I didn't play, but I had a front row seat on the bench.
I know that's right. That's right.
That was great, man. That was great. That was a great experience. And Willie and I went on to become great friends. In fact, I was responsible for him being inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. They had blackballed him because he was a stand-up guy, and he went on to become an assistant coach. And I was thinking it was the San Diego Chargers. Some of the ball players were using drugs, and Willie didn't like that. You know, as an assistant coach, man, he didn't play that, man. So they had a falling out, and the Chargers end up firing Willie Wood and sticking with the players. So Willie had to go to Canada, and he became the first Black head coach in Canadian Football League. He went there and came back home and got another head coaching job with the World Football League, the Philadelphia Bell. He became a head coach there. And of course, that folded. And Willie, I used to have Willie on my show all the time, you know, as he's making all these different coaching decisions, going to Canada, returning back home. And he couldn't get a job in the NFL anymore. They blackballed him. So he came to me, and because I was really moving by then. I found my talk show Inside Sports in 1972, and I was rolling. And Willie asked me would I campaign and see about getting him into the NFL Hall of Fame, and I did. I got together with my man at the Washington Times, the great Dick Heller, sports columnist, that had my back and Willie's back, and we were able to get Willie inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. And of course, now, 1970, he got inducted in 1989. Finally, he got inducted in 1989. But I skipped over a part there that I know a lot of people were interested in Muhammad Ali. Why? Hey, why did Muhammad Ali give you this opportunity as a little unknown radio talk show host on AM gospel radio? Why did he give you the first interview? Well, that's a $1 million question people are still asking. People have not gotten over in 50 years that Muhammad Ali gave me the only interview, man.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. How did that happen?
Well, what happened, man, is that I didn't see Muhammad Ali again until 1972. That's 5 years after I met him on the university at Howard University. And so now I am a radio personality. And I'm hanging out at a gym called Billy Billy Edwards Gym at 9th and U Street. And this is where all the boxers and stuff hang out. And one day I'm in there, and in comes Harry Barnett, who I had already met. Harry had graduated from Howard University, a white guy, graduated from Howard University back then, and he was an attorney. He came into the gym with a guy by the name of J.D. Bethea, who was a sports columnist for the Washington Star News. So they were talking, man, said, man, I think we ought to ride on up to Cleveland on the weekend, man. Muhammad Ali is fighting an exhibition up there. So, you know, I said, hey, man, can I hitch a ride? I said, can I hitch a ride?
I'm going with you.
So they said, yeah, come on, man. So I came home, told my wife, Hattie, I said, I'm going to take this ride up to Cleveland because Muhammad Ali is up there. He's doing an exhibition. And that's what we did. We got in the car, and Harry and J.D. Bethea drove up to Cleveland. And we go to the hotel, Shannon, where everybody is staying. And we walk into the hotel. There's Muhammad Ali over the corner doing what he was doing up at Howard University. But only this time it's not students, it's the media and fans that are gathered all around him, you know? So me, J.D. Bethea, Harry Barnett, we try to go around this crowd to get to the register for our room, right?
Yeah.
So as we go around the crowd, all of a sudden, this voice booms out, Harold Bell, what you doing this far away from home? I almost fell to the floor, man. I said, everybody looking at me, man. I have not seen the champ or talked to him in 5 years, man.
Wow.
And there he calls me out.
By name.
Man, by name. And I got him looking at me. I said, hey, champ. And we went on and registered. And they got our room out because all three of us stay in the same room. And sure enough, Muhammad Ali's brother, Rahman, found me. He said, man, the champ want to see you, man. I was down in the lobby just walking around, hoping I'd run into him again. And I run into his brother. And Rahman took me to the suite where the champ was staying. And I went in there, man, and he introduced me to all the usual suspects. He introduced me to all the Angelo Dundee, Don King, Lloyd Price, man. He introduced me to all of these folks, man.
Wow.
He let them know, this my man. It's Harold Bell. So he said, Harold, what you doing there? I said, man, I got my own radio sports talk show. He said, when can I be on? When can I be on? I said, anytime you want, champ. Anytime you want.
Anytime
that you want, man. So after that, man, I started going up to Poconos Mountains in Pennsylvania. That's where he had his camp, So I started going up there, hanging out. And so one day I'm hanging out, must have been about maybe a dozen reporters, most of them white. I probably was the only black. And Rahman came up and whispered in my ear. He said, hey, Harold, the champ wants you to come up there and sit with him. Ooh. I said, what? He said, he gave me a whole press conference sitting on a rock. So I go on up there, man, and I sit down, and champ said, Harold, take it from here. So when they start wanting to ask questions, I point out the guys. He's like, okay, what's your question to the champ?
Wow.
Ain't that something? Is that unbelievable, man?
That's incredible, man. 5 years later, then you up there, you sitting right next to him,
sitting next to him,
rolling
man.
the media conversation.
He had already chosen me, man. That's what happened. He had chosen me. Now, after we get through with the media, I go inside the little what's that trailer. I went to a trailer, and his mom was in there fixing lunch, hot dogs and beans. Hot dogs and beans. So I sit down, man, next to the champ and Rockman, and his mom comes over and serves me hot dogs and beans. And boy, you talking about the best tasting hot dogs and beans I ever had. So anyway, I finished hot dogs and beans, and Champ said, "Mom, I think Harold's hungry. Bring him another." Yeah, man, that was incredible, man. That was incredible, man. His mother and father, man, they were classic parents, man. You know, I mean, you know, they probably had their problems too, but they were beautiful people, man. And it wasn't nobody but Rockman and Ali. So now, as I'm going back and forth up to Poconos Mountain, the champions get ready to break camp. This is 1974. So as he's breaking camp, he comes up to me and says, "Harold, what do you want to do? What do you want to do, man?" I said, "Man, I want to do a one-on-one interview with you for television." He said, "Okay." He said, "You know, I'm getting ready to go to Chicago, and I got to go and fight that chump, George Foreman, in Africa." He said, "Why don't you come on up to Chicago and let's talk about it?" So I said, "Okay." So I come home, tell Hattie what's happening. And, you know, I don't like flying, right? So I'm going to take a chance on this airplane and get me to Chicago. So I hooked up with this guy, Rodney Brown. Rodney Brown was a cameraman, and he was kind of into the media thing. So I had him come on and go up to Chicago with me. And we get up there, and Pat Patterson's, you ever see me sitting on the rock with Muhammad Ali, this guy standing behind him is his head of security, Pat Patterson. So Pat meets us at the airport and takes us on back into to where Muhammad Ali's working out. And then we get in there, man, place is packed. It's a little gym, you know, it's a little gym. So we had to go around the side door to get in. So we get in, and there's Muhammad and Ali, and they're working out. He must have worked out about 10 or 15 more minutes while I was in there. And all of a sudden he disappears. And everybody just standing around talking, you know, everybody, you know, "Hey man, we in here with the champ." So now I'm standing there with Rodney Brown and I think Bert Sugar. I think we were talking to Bert Sugar, the boxing historian. And it was Rockman, and Rockman said, "Hey Harold, the champ wants to see you in the dressing room." So I didn't even know. I guess he didn't know I was there. So anyway, I go around to the dressing room. He's on the table getting a massage. You know, his trainers are giving him a massage. So he had a chair in front of him. "Sit down, man. Sit down, Harold. Sit down." So I sit down, and he says again, "Now tell me, what do you want to do?" I said, "Champ, I told you what I want to do. I want to do a one-on-one interview for television."
Wow.
He said, "Oh, that ain't no problem." He said, "We can do that in Zaire."
Whoa.
I said, "What?" That's right. Zaire. He said, "Yeah, you know I'm going to Zaire next month to fight this chump George Foreman. I told you that." So I said, "So what?" He said, "We could do the interview in Zaire." I said, "Man, I ain't going no Zaire." He sat up on the table. He said, "Fool, what's wrong with you?" I said, "Champ, I'm scared to fly across the ocean." Boy, he broke out laughing. Oh, boy. He called me all kinds of names, Shannon. He called me all. I said, "I don't care what you call me. Chicken, duck, whatever. I ain't going to Africa flying across the ocean." So anyway, we leave there and we go have dinner at the restaurant, a Muslim restaurant. We had dinner, and now it's time for Pat Patterson to get us back to the airport to get this flight back to D.C.
Uh-huh.
As I'm preparing, the champ comes up beside me, whispers in my ear. He said, "Chump, since you are afraid to fly across the ocean, when I knock this chump out, you'll be the first to interview me."
Mm.
I looked at him. He always talking crazy anyway. I ain't pay no attention to him, man.
Uh-huh.
I said, "Come on, Pat, let's go." So we went,
Wow.
got on the plane, flew back to D.C., and the fight is down at Constitution Hall, closed circuit. That same guy I was telling you, Harry Barnett, who I had hooked up with to go to Cleveland, he's in charge, running the thing down there, closed circuit. He got the franchise to do it in D.C. So anyway, I asked Roy Jefferson, who was with the Washington Redskins at the time, my man, that was my partner really. His wife, Candy, my wife, Hattie, the four of us went down to see the fight. And boy, I'm scared, man. This George Foreman is knocking people out in the first round and second round. I said, oh my God, man. So we went up in the balcony to sit, man. And sure enough, as you know, one of the biggest upsets ever in boxing history. Because everybody, all the sports writers had picked Muhammad Ali to lose.
Yeah.
But Muhammad Ali outsmarted them. And me and George were friends because I met George through Harry Barnett. George was my man too, man, So, but Muhammad Ali, that was my buddy, man. And of course, he outsmarted George. And that knockout in the 8th round, I almost fell over the balcony. Roy had to catch me. I was so excited, man.
Wow.
So now we go on home 5 nights later. I'm lying in the bed. It's raining outside, man. I'm sleeping good. I'm still working. At that time, I'm with what I don't know what I was doing, man. Oh, I was on radio. I was still on radio because, as you know, I forgot all about to tell you about the part about Watergate came and Nixon got thrown out of office, and so I had to find another occupation, and it was radio, man. So I'm lying home in the bed, man, 5 nights after the fight. So my wife Hattie, she puts me over by the telephone because Petey Green called me all hours of the night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. John Thompson may be calling.
Uh-huh.
So she put me by the phone. So man, I'm sleeping good, Shannon. I'm tucked in, and the phone started to ring. I don't pay no attention to it. It must have rung 4 or 5 times, and Hattie hit me with the elbow and said, "Get the phone." I pick up the phone, and I think I know it's Petey or somebody or John or somebody, and my man Dick Smith or anybody may be calling. So I said, "Who's calling?" He said, "Let me speak to Harold Bell." I said, "Who's calling, man?" He said, "Let me speak to Harold Bell." And before I could say who's calling again, he said, "Fool, this is the heavyweight champion of the whole wide world, Muhammad Ali." I said, straight up in the bed. I thought I was dreaming, man. I said, "Hey, champ, congratulations, man. Congratulations." So Hattie wakes up and she looks at me and she whispers, she said, "Who is it?" I said, "It's Muhammad Ali." She said, "Go back to sleep." She don't believe me. She turned to go back to sleep, man.
Oh my goodness.
So I said, "Hey, champ." He said, "Do you still want to do that interview?" I said, "Yeah, man, I want to do that interview." He said, "Well, I'm in New York. Can you come up here in the morning?" It was Sunday night, Monday morning. I said, "Yeah, champ." He said, "Bring your camera crew. This is where I'm staying." Gave me a telephone number. And so I called my man Rodney Brown, who went to Chicago with me. I said, "Rodney, Muhammad Ali just called, man." He said, "Fool, ain't no Muhammad Ali call you nothing." I said, "Muhammad Ali just called, Rodney." He said, "What's the problem?" I said, "He wants us to come to New York to do the interview." He said, "What's the problem?" I said, man, I don't get paid till Friday. My car ain't working. He said, hold it, Harold. Will Williams and I are here at PBS. We doing a black thing for Black History Month. He said, Will has the car, I got the credit card, and PBS got the cameras.
I know that's right.
They rolled in on me in Suitland, Maryland at the time, about midnight. I told Hattie, I said, I'm going to New York to catch up with the champ. She said, okay. I went down there, man, had my little stuff together and got in the back seat, and there were these big, beautiful cameras in the back seat. And we rolled into New York, man. And man, we got there about 6 or 7 o'clock, and we went and got hot chocolate and coffee. I was drinking hot chocolate and donuts, and walked over to the hotel. And I called him from the lobby. He said, where are you? I said, I'm in the lobby. He said, I'm on the 7th floor. Come on up. And we went up there. He was combing his hair. He stayed out the hall combing his hair. So we walked up. He said, man, ain't that pretty? Look at me. I said, look at me. Don't I look good? I said, Champ, you looking good. He said, come on. We went and sat down. Rodney and them set up the cameras, man. And we did the interview, man. We did that interview, man. It's one of the greatest interviews of all time because, hey, I'm going to tell you why it was so special to me. We talked about 2 minutes sports, boxing. We talked 2 minutes, the rest of it about the game called life. Do you have any part of that segment that you can kind of show the audience?
Absolutely. Yeah, let me show them exactly what's going on.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And this is a 3-part piece that appeared on NBC affiliate WRC TV 4 in 1975. We're celebrating 50 years of this.
Everybody's always talking about the controversial Muhammad Ali, heavyweight champion of the world. I talked with Muhammad, and here's what he had to say about all this.
Well, I'm just being myself, but a lot of people, a lot of things change. Time brings about a change. People forget. You know, Kennedy, Martin Luther King are dead, Nat King Cole, or people like Dinah Washington. I can go on and you didn't think about it. I just mentioned them. Planes crashed with 150 people on it, lawyers and people of all walks of life, and next day it's old news. So these things happened then, and they believe they were right when they said them, and it's all over. And we don't hold things against people. See, once you develop the heart quality, it becomes a forgiving quality. So life is as we look at it. If you wish to find faults, you can find faults in the best people in the world. If you wish to find good points, you can find good points in the worst people in the world. So once you get enough sympathy, enough love for mankind, enough understanding, then you overlook little faults and little errors and little mistakes. So whatever they said about me, it's all over, and I don't have time to really worry about it, because when you criticize and condemn others, you're overlooking the same element in yourself. Now whatever they did wrong, it's the same thing in me. So I worry about straightening out me. Yeah, boxing is an art. It's like you said, it's hit, not be hit. Rhythm and timing, footwork, a left jab, right cross. You know, might slip a punch about 2 inches, then tag it. He might throw a left jab, and you might pull back just enough to get away. He might stop from a half inch and hit you in the back over with the right hand. It's all time and rhythm. Everything's in motion. So, but fighting is more like a Joe Frazier. Just put your head down and come in, take punches just to hit, nose hanging off, ears twisted, eyes crossed, just don't care. But boxers won, like Sugar Ray Robinson was in his day, or Joe Louis, myself. People, you know how I dance and jump around. Even I'm laying on the ropes, I'm not getting hit, I'm blocking them. That's called the rope-a-dope, the new style of the Mirage. It's a science. So that's how they differ. George Foreman is a slugger too. That's how he lost the fight, if you remember. He just put his head down, just kept swinging and didn't realize where he was hitting. He just wanted to hit. Bull loses his head. A fighter is one who loses his head, he can't think. But a man who's smart, taking his time, jab, you know, I miss a right hand, he'd hit me. And then when I get him in the ropes, He wouldn't lose his head and slug it out. He just back off and tell me to come on out to the center of the ring. That's a boxer. The slugger's one who just put, like a girl, just get mad and she told to lie on you, darling. And she did. I can't stand and start pulling hair, just get mad.
All right, man. That's man.
The original Inside Sports. Yes,
50
sir.
years. 50 years, man.
Yes,
50
sir.
years this month. I did that interview, and in NBC, WRC TV4, they have never shown that interview, whether it's Black History Month or not. So they're still suppressing our history out there, man. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to, the way we were. That's the way we were before. I know we got to get out. We don't have much time. We just wanted to do a 30-minute thing. But I want to send out my wife and I will be married 57 years on Sunday.
Congratulations, my man.
Hattie T.
Wow.
She's in Savannah, enjoying life with her family down here and down there. And I just want to say, 57 years. I know it ain't been no roller coaster, baby. I know it ain't been smooth, but I couldn't have made it without you. And I got guys out there like my man Dick Smith, former Redskin that has been in my corner. He's usually down there at the church in Southwest on Fridays. Holler out at Dick and John Hollins, my man Turk, who gave me my break, helped me get my break at WOOK Radio in 1972. He was Terrible Turk then, kind of been under the weather. Andrew Johnson, Andre, Jordan, Bobby Thompson, Lester Lewis. And, I didn't get here by myself, man. It's been kind of rough, but I wouldn't have done it no other way, because when you tell the truth, people don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear the truth as long as it's about somebody else. They don't want to hear the truth about ourselves, Shannon. And you know that. You've been around, you've been in this business about 15 years now yourself, so you kind of know.
Yes, sir.
Exactly what I'm saying. Well, how do we look, Shannon? How much time do we have?
We about to get up out of here, but I did want to, ask you, with all the work that you've done, in the past and in the community with the youth, did you ever think that we will be where we are at today with the violence? No,
I didn't. Shannon. This is something I never expected. I know the racism has always been there. They've been in the closet, but this recent our recent president has given them opportunity to come out the closet, man. And that's bad. The one thing about, I worked all over the DMV with youth gangs and young people, and I see a lot of violence, and we have hurt each other. We have not hurt others, man. As you can see what's happening, man. Who tried to assassinate the president? It wasn't one of us. Who just shot those two National Guard? It wasn't one of us. But they will blame and put that shade on us because our leadership has not been great, man. Our leadership has been poor, and I think as being a native Washingtonian, I'm a fourth generation Washingtonian. Even though I was born in Brooklyn, New York, that's because my mother chased my father up there. She was 6 months pregnant, and I was in Kings County Hospital, but all my brothers, everybody were born right here. I'm a fourth generation Washingtonian. When I say fourth generation Washingtonian, I'm talking about my great grandfather laid the first brick to build Mount Airy Baptist Church at North Capitol L Street in 1893.
Woo.
So when I look at this town, it saddens me, man, because everybody, they don't listen. I tried to tell Miriam Bowser not to hire that first police chief, Newsom. I said, I gave her the paperwork in her hands. I went down to the city council and told him, and Newsom was sitting right next to him. I said, I don't want this man for no chief of police in DC. I mean, he's treated his wife, his girlfriends. He's been found on the street drunk with his pistol in his holster.
What?
But hey, they had all of that, man. And she hired him anyway. You know what he did? He went out the back door before his time was up and took a job next door. But that's because we always don't want to listen. We want to pretend that we know everything. She has had 4 police chiefs since she's been in office. Yeah. So, man, the leadership has been poor. The stuff that has gone on in this town with our young people are first with me. I could have gone on and made some big money and got out there. But man, hey man, I was a kid in trouble. That's why my organization was named Kids in Trouble, because I was a kid in trouble.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man, taking time, man, out of your schedule, man. And I want folks to know, man, I got another book coming out. This is my book on Amazon. Earl Bell, I Never Played the Game. Look on Amazon now. But I'm getting ready to come out with a second book, For Whom the Bells Toll. And we're going to be talking about those stories right here every Saturday at 11 o'clock. I think Shannon got me scheduled for 11 o'clock every Saturday. And that's a good time. That's how my radio show was at 11 o'clock at WUST for 10 years, man. So thank you, man, so much for taking the time.
You're welcome. No, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing the stories. I look forward to continuing to hear more and just learning more about the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And, you know, because you've also helped a lot of people, and you talk to a lot of people, because you got even James Brown, who, you know, I think CBS Sports right now, he says, you know, Harold has always been a voice for people who didn't have a voice. He has always called it as he saw it. He has been an inspiration and motivation for me and a lot of other Black broadcasters, man. So just want to make sure that you have your flowers now, man, that you are appreciated and that you are loved for all the hard work that you put in to pave the way for us who come after you.
We just got to learn how to come back and help each other. We don't come back to help each other, man. You know, I had almost over a dozen millionaires who came through Kids in Trouble and Inside Sports when they had nothing but a job. And they never come back, man, to help a kid. Now, a couple of them helped me pay my rent when they ran me off the air. You know, I had to get $1,000 from James Brown to pay my rent. I had to get $1,000 from Michael Wilbon. And David Aldridge is the best of them all. You know, we talk about chump change, man. I was making so much money one time when I was on the radio, you wouldn't believe it. But David Aldridge had to pay my rent twice, man. So, you know, I didn't make it by myself, but man, we are just so selfish. We are a selfish people, man. We are, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome, man. Now we got more to come, y'all. Please tune in. We have the Inside Sports Legacy Network. Social media is out now. We'll be coming out with a newsletter real soon. Stay tapped in with us, and you're going to be able to continue to get all this great information, all these great stories from HB himself, the legend, Inside Sports, the originator, the godfather of sports talk radio.
I like to say on the way out that every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face is not your enemy.